Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Saturday. So before we can do any barn work, I've got to plow the driveway out. I guess I got to do my chores no matter what. But this tractor is wonderful. This thing starts right up. I've got an inline heater in it. She usually fires up real easy. I could plug it in an hour before. It's such a small, it's only a little 3-cylinder engine on it, little Perkins diesel. But she starts up nice, she runs nice. This little tractor right here, this little 40-horse jobber, she is my workhorse. I do so much with this thing. I love this tractor. It cost me, I bought it probably 4 or 5 years ago. I got it for $4,500 with less than 3,000 hours on it. For a 1970 something tractor, that's pretty good. So let's see if we can fire this up. And we've got a lot of snow to move, so I'll throw you into time lapse here in just a moment. So here we go. And then after that, we're going to get on to some barn work. Now, you guys actually get to see something in daylight here. So stay tuned. I'll catch you on the other side of it. See, we got our snow out of the way. Now it's getting on to dark. It's been dumping here pretty good all day. We started out with some sleet and freezing rain, not a lot of it, and then it turned into the big white fluffy slow falling flakes. And I always like those. You know, it's good Christmas snow. It's always good to have. But anyway, I've been trying to put some of that stuff into the videos lately, so maybe while you're watching, if you're wondering why this project takes the time it does and why I don't have a lot more accomplished, not that we're making excuses, because I think it's important to see everything else going on. And then you can see, you know, if you're planning on doing these frames yourself and you have other things going on in life and you're not able to just sit there and devote every day, day in, day out to it, it's important to see what you're going to contend with. And so we try to throw that kind of thing in here because I think it's good. It's part of the whole full disclosure deal we got going here. But anyway, we're going to continue on with this top plate. We have some mortises to cut. We have some housings to cut. Fortunately, these top plates are really easy to cut. It's not terribly technical, which is kind of nice. The only real technical part is the scarf joint, and as you can see, that's a very easy scarf joint compared to the big ones that we cut for the tie beams. But I do want to, before we get moving here, I want to put out a couple shout outs there. I've got some subscribers who started their own channels, and some of them have been around for a while, and they're continuing to improve what they're doing and things like that. And you know, these folks have been pretty loyal viewers for a while now, and I think it's only fair to give them a shout out and maybe broaden their audience a little bit. And they may not be for everybody, but the first one's going to be Arnold Rompai, and I apologize, Arnold, if I got your name wrong. But Arnold is a farmer, kind of a jack of all trades, and if you're into homesteading, you're looking to get into raising animals, there's some good things in there about taking care of them. Another one is Dylan Woodworks. He is out of New Hampshire. Dylan's a really nice guy. He's a family man. He does a lot of sawmilling videos. I believe at some point he plans on building a timber frame, which is really cool. It might be another fun timber frame project to follow. I mean, a lot of us, if you're watching this channel, there's a high likelihood that you're a bit of an enthusiast or you're curious about doing the project yourself. So anyway, another one is Lance Shepard. Lance is a family man. He spends a lot of time on his channel making things for his kids, and I love that. There's nothing better than seeing a family man, and it's good to see it in this modern age of the modern family kind of not as close-knit as it used to be, so it's really nice to see that kind of thing. A lot of dedication to your children. I think it's very important. And also, we picked up a new subscriber today where Timber Frame Headquarters, I believe his name is Bryce. He has a YouTube channel out there, and he has some really good information. He has a really good website where he puts out some excellent explanations. He is one of them that I've spent quite a bit of time reading a lot of things that he'd written over the years in his videos, and there's a guy who really knows what he's doing, and there's some really good stuff. So I'm going to put a link to his website in the description, as well as a link to his channel, and all the channels I just mentioned we're going to put in the description of this video. I'll leave out my own selfish descriptions in there, and we'll put those guys in there. So without further ado, we're going to get to cutting some mortises, we're going to get to cutting some housings, and hopefully we can finish up this top plate tonight. And then once we have this done, we're going to get back on the sawmill. I'm not sure if I'm going to put a video out tomorrow, but we're going to try. So anyway, hope you folks enjoy it, and I'll catch you on the other side. Okay, so we have some weighing on this timber, and this weighing with the clamps, this weighing is going to make it kind of difficult to carry this line off of the reference face down the adjacent faces. So what we're going to do, and this can be kind of a chancy thing, so make sure your square is not twisted, sight down it, do what you got to do. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to clamp this square right on my line here. Flashlight on so I can see what I'm doing. But we're going to clamp that square on there, and then I'm going to use my little square here, and we're going to carry those lines down that way. Like I said, this could be a little bit of a chancy deal, because you got to make sure that square is good and flat on your timber, or else this will not work. I don't use wood for this, because if I don't have a perfectly flat piece, it's not going to work right. So I'll just clamp this down. It's a good idea, sight down it, and make sure it's laying nice and flat. If it's not laying flat on there, this is not going to work. Now this is how I've dealt with a lot of the weighing, and it's worked out all right for me. So all I do is get my square sitting on there. Make sure it stays square. It's a good idea. Check down that. Make sure it's there. And then just carry your lines. Now, like I said, be careful doing this. If that thing's twisted at all, it's going to mess you right up, and you're going to be way off on your marks. But right now we're just marking out where we have to cut this. And be careful also there. So we're able to carry our lines down to that edge right there. So that's just a little Just a little something to keep in mind. Little trick, but you have to be kind of careful doing that, because if you do that wrong, it's just going to throw off. It's just going to throw things off on you. Just forget I've got to do it here also. Now the proper way on this one would be to carry it on both sides. But I'm more doing this to hold that in place so that I can carry the line down. On this one I've got a way is a little chilly. Okay. You can probably see where you could have an issue doing this. So take your time with it if you're going to do it like this. And make sure you're not twisting the square at all. Now also while we're at it, we'll mark out our housing depth there. The housing depth is going to be 9.5 inches from the reference base. So let's get this thing cut up.
It was always on fire, our house, our dreams. We were dancing on a wire, reckless it seemed. We found holes in these walls, we like what we saw. Seems so strong until it falls, the final straw. Oh, I never felt like this before. When I was trapped, you showed an open door. Living in a dark, clouded haze, we danced, we fought. We were bound to make mistakes, real love, we thought. But it was always on fire, our house, our dreams. We were dancing on wire, reckless it seemed. I never felt like this before. When I was trapped, you showed an open door. I had no reason to complain.
Well, there we go. One more major piece finished. Total into this top plate, aside from milling it, but total for joint cutting, we had about 4.5 hours altogether. I was lucky enough, I had to take the chain mortiser base apart again and do some filing and cleaning up. I kind of running out of room to make adjustments to that thing, and unfortunately have not had any success finding parts for that particular model. So I think when this project's done, before we get into the other one, I'm probably going to set that one aside for parts and get a 7104L that's actually made to clamp on the big timbers. So that's explaining that because I had a comment on yesterday's video, or not yesterday's video, it was an older one. I think it was Jim versus the chain mortiser. One of our regular viewers pretty much told me to I shouldn't be running power tools. I didn't know what I was doing. But I can assure you, I do know what I'm doing with the power tools. I had a moment of frustration there with it when I was running it in that particular video when I tried adjusting it and banging around on it when I probably shouldn't have. The chain was still spinning. He picked it up and, well, I said, you don't do anything on the interwebs without somebody picking up on it. So not a big deal. He was absolutely right in some of what he said. Other parts of it, I don't think he was correct, but he had some very valid points, and one that I should probably mention. So we all have a tendency when we get frustrated with stuff to maybe do things in haste that we shouldn't do, and you could get hurt. So, I mean, I've been running power tools for 20 years. Knock on wood, I've never been hurt with them. I still have all my digits, you know, I'm not all scarred up from them. The only close call I ever had was I had a router bit fly out of a cheap Craftsman router I was using. It whacked me off the fingers, laid me open pretty good, but it was good and tight in there, but it was just a junk router, and it got tossed in the trash after that. And since I've gotten some good routers, I've never had a problem since. The problem with that mortiser, to address his comment, the big problem with that mortiser it's not a 7104L. It wasn't made to clamp big timbers. When I bought it, the ad said it was a 7104L. When I got it, it was actually 7103. You can't even find those on an internet search. I don't know if they were only available in Europe or what, and some has just made their way to the States through eBay. This one came from Denmark. Even has a goofy plug on it. But, so, that's why you see me doing what I was doing with it. It was just out of frustration. But now that mortiser, the difference between that one and the 7104L, it's meant to go on a smaller timber. I think it goes up to like a 6-inch on its own without any tweaking. It only has 4 positions without moving it, whereas a 7104L has 6. So this one you can only tilt it once and you can slide it back and forth. So I am very aware of how to run it and all that, so don't you worry, we got that covered. But anyhow, we are down to, I want to say, 21 major timber pieces left to cut for this frame, so it's not too bad. I get these 3 logs milled up, and I think I'm going to have the rest of my queen posts. I think I'm going to go to the dark side and have the Amish mill cut them, just so I can save time, and they can get it done much quicker than I can go to the woods, cut the logs, skid them home, and throw them on the mill after screwing around with debarking and everything else. But so anyway, tomorrow is Christmas Eve day. That's when this video will be coming out, and if I don't get a chance to do a video tomorrow for Christmas morning, Merry Christmas everybody if you do celebrate it, and for those of you who don't, have a wonderful day anyway. I will catch you on the next one.